All right, the U.S. Open fourth round is here, and the fourth round is when things start to usually get a little bit ferocious as far as matchups go. We had some great matches in the third round, and we're going to talk about those, like Shapovalov going down valiantly, but the fourth round is where it gets hot. So we got Medvedev, Kyrgios, we got Nadal, TFO. So we got lots of matchups to look at. We're going to break it all down right now on the slice presented by PointsBet Canada. Let's get into it. All right, welcome to the Slice, people. Stephen Boughton here, bringing you the news, the updates, the sauce from the U.S. Open. Before we start anything, Serena Williams' career is over. Shout out to one of the greatest female players of all time. Absolutely. Some people say she's the GOAT, mostly Americans. There's other people who say Steffi Graf's the GOAT, Navratilova. I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't know. But I know that Serena Williams brought so much to tennis, absolutely kind of changed the women's game in a way with her career, and absolutely insane. So what a career. Thank you for everything, Serena, that you brought to the game. The Slice is brought to you by PointsBet Canada. Now, let's take a quick look at the odds, the remaining outright winners odds on the men's and women's. On the women's, we got Iga, Swiatek, 2.8. Then Caroline Garcia, 6.5. Shout out. She took out Bianca Andreescu in a big time performance. And then Coco Gauff at number 3 at 7.5. Samsonova next, and then Sabalenka. Samsonova, we'll talk about her. She's been on scary form. Men's outright odds, Daniil Medvedev still at 3-1. Then Rafa and Nadal 4-1. Then Carlitos at 5-1. Then Nick at 8-1. Then Jannik Sinner at 13-1. So that's pretty interesting. What do you say? So if you live in Ontario, click the link below to join PointsBet Canada. It helps you and it helps us. That would be great. Make sure you subscribe to the Monday Bagel, which is coming out on Monday, tomorrow. Second issue ever, and we're doing a free Bagel Time giveaway every month. So thanks for your support in that way. Men's third round. Let's take a quick look at some of these matches and people that have impressed me so far here this tournament. It's been very impressive. Yesterday, I did a watch party. We had a watch party on our channel here for Rublev versus Shapovalov. Rublev defeated Shapovalov in 5 sets in a 5th set 10-point tiebreaker. It was, the word epic gets thrown around a lot, but it was truly, in my opinion, an epic because of the way that both guys played the entire match. I predicted before that there'd be a ton of anger. There was. It could have been a lot worse, though. Both guys are intense. They're fiery. They're passionate. They're emotional on court, and we know that. Both guys, though, also can absolutely crack the ball. And we saw them both play at a very, in my opinion, high level throughout the match. You're usually lucky if you get, one set where both guys are playing pretty good. But I really felt like we saw 5 sets where both guys played pretty solid tennis. Shapovalov at times was unbelievably good. Definitely the best he's played since Rome, I think. And it was some of the best tennis, just some of the most mature, controlled tennis I've seen. I think he hit 75 winners and 71 unforced errors, while Rublev had less winners and unforced errors. Rublev kind of dialed it back a little bit, but he was also just getting outpowered by Shapovalov's forehand, who was bigger than Rublev. So Rublev just played a better tiebreaker in the 5th set and came out with it. So little to separate them, but that was in my opinion the match of the tournament so far, and my favorite match that I've watched, definitely. So too bad for Shapovalov. No Canadians left, but amazing for Rublev. TFO beat Schwartzman in 3 sets, so I really liked what I saw in that one. He plays Nadal next. We'll get into that matchup. And then Alcaraz took out Brooksby 6-3, 6-3, 6-3, or 6-4, 6-4, 6-4. I forget, I actually don't have the score in front of me. Actually, I do. I could just look that up. 6-3, 6-3, 6-3. So very impressive, again, from Alcaraz, who is now 3rd on the odds list to win the entire tournament, which I think is very legitimate. So what are my top 3 matchups for the 4th round? Who am I looking at? If you look at the draw, you'll notice that a lot of the seeds are still in. There has been a few big upsets, obviously, Tsitsipas, Fritz going out early. But other than that, not too many. I think 5 of the top 8 players are still in it. Hurkacz is also lost. Felix lost. So those are the main top 3 guys in the top 8 out. Kyrgios Medvedev is the obvious one that people are looking at and people are psyched about. How could you not be? Kyrgios leads the head-to-head 3-1. Two of those were in 2019, and one of those was obviously very recently in Montreal, where Kyrgios beat Medvedev by serving and volleying his way and basically just breaking down the Medvedev return. Now, how is that going to play out over 5 sets in the US Open, where Medvedev's the defending champion, in front of a crazy crowd? I'm sure it will be. It'll be an absolute, it's happening tonight. I can't wait for it. I see Medvedev returning a lot better. He didn't play very well. Nick Kyrgios even admitted that after the match in Montreal. Medvedev did not play his best. And I'm interested to see if Medvedev's going to change up his return position, because he stood super far back against Nick, and Nick's like, well, I have to serve a volley. And he did every single point almost, and it worked because Nick has great hands. He volleyed well, and just returning from that far behind the baseline to a guy who's got great hands, who's 6'5", coming in the net, just an insanely hard position to return from. I think Medvedev could return better, so he might not change up his position. But if he's losing, I would hope that he would do that, because I think he has the hands to change it up. But I'm just super interested because their matchups, both guys can be so creative with balls. And yeah, I just think over 5 sets, I'm leaning Medvedev for sure, because how solid he can be on return, how much he can shrink the court and take away Kyrgios' weapons. But we'll see. Courts are quick, so Kyrgios could just serve the absolute lights out again, and we'll see. But I'm leaning Medvedev, maybe a similar, tighter match than they saw in the Australian Open this year, where Medvedev did beat Kyrgios over a 4-set match. So yeah, I'm leaning Medvedev there, but that's going to be the match of the 4th round, in my opinion. I hope it is. Hope it lives up to it. Chillich versus Alcaraz, I think, will be interesting. Chillich actually Alcaraz beat Chillich twice this year already. I expect that again, but Chillich, previous winner of the US Open, huge serve. You never know what can happen. Slippery courts here. So that's an interesting match, and I think it'll be a really good level setter. I thought Brooksby was a good level setter for Alcaraz, Alcaraz, there's some of the rallies in there were insane. I thought Brooksby's quirkiness and difference in shot pace and angles and spins would maybe upset Alcaraz, but he just blasted through it, and he just took it out big time. So Chillich is going to be a more clean, big hitter, and we'll see if he can get Alcaraz on the back foot, and we'll see how Alcaraz responds to that, because that's always interesting. But I'm leaning Alcaraz for that one for sure. And then we got Nadal versus TFO is my third kind of super interesting match of round 4. Nadal leads the head-to-head 2-0, but they have not played since 2019. So big foe. He's kind of been lurking in the, he's got his ranking up. He's nice. I think he's seeded. And I think TFO's, he's seeded 22, and I think TFO's hasn't had a big scalp in a while. And he's got the athleticism to hang with Nadal in the rallies, obviously. If he can serve really well, that's going to be, I think, essential for him to hang with Nadal. But he's got the power and the athleticism to hang with Nadal in the rallies and do what needs to be done, which is handle balls up to the backhand. He can hurt Nadal with his forehand, absolutely. He can play defense and he can play offense. So he's got that beautiful all-around game, and we'll just see what level he brings. He said he's going to want to bring his best. He needs to bring his best, obviously, and we'll see what energy and focus Nadal brings his best. He's had a few lapses already. He hasn't played anyone really tough. He literally beat Richard Gasquet for the 18th time in a row, basically, just here, which just happened, which is hilarious. So we'll see. Probably Nadal's the favorite, but TFO's a worthy and winnable winnable challenge for Nadal. So that's going to be super interesting. So those are my interesting matches on the men's side. Let me know down below what yours are. Let's take a look at the women's now, which is also awesome. On the women's side, we got, before we do that, I'll just run through all the other 4th round matches just so you know who they are. Carreño Busta, 12 seed, taking on Karen Khachanov on the top half there. Davidovich Fokina taking on Berrettini. Berrettini, you got to watch. I think Berrettini is being slept on in this tournament. He's seeded number 13, but if you didn't have to miss Wimbledon, you'd still be top 6, top 7, top 8, I think. Absolutely dangerous. He's been looking good. Mute into the 4th round, pretty surprising, pretty good for him to play Casper Ruud. We got Ivashka, who took out Hurkacz, and then Musetti, who's playing very well against Jannik Sinner. That's a danger match for Sinner, in my opinion. We got Chillich versus Alcaraz, and then we got Norrie versus Rublev. Super interesting. Both super playing well, high level. So a lot of good matches, a lot of seeds in the 4th round. There's only 3 unseeded players in the 4th round of the US Open. So that's what I mean. It's not a ton of huge upsets so far. Let's take a look at the women's singles matches in the fourth round. We got Zhang versus Coco Gauff on the top. That's interesting. No Simona Halep, obviously. Sorry, that's the bottom half. Anyways, we got on the very top, we got Swiatek versus Niemeyer from Germany. Niemeyer hits huge. Might be a little bit dangerous for Swiatek, but Swiatek's three matches won, 0 sets dropped. She's looking better. Petra Kvitova won an absolute marathon epic against Muguruza yesterday. That was one of the matches of the tournament as well. She'll be playing Jessica Pegula, home country favorite. That'll be rocking in there in Arthur Ashe, I'm sure. Azarenka versus Pliskova, Danielle Collins versus Sabalenka. So the Belarusians, after their ban at Wimbledon, obviously coming back here, making a bit of a statement at the US Open. And then we got Zhang versus Coco Gauff, Caroline Garcia versus Alison Risk. Caroline Garcia beat Andreescu, our girl, in pretty dominant fashion, 6-3, 6-2. I think she hit 31 winners in 2 sets. So she's playing big time. And I think with the level that she's put out, she can absolutely win the US Open. So she's been on great form recently. Obviously, I think winning Cincinnati. So she honestly might be like the top 2 favorites on the bottom for me. Jabeur versus Kudermetova. And then we got Samsonova versus Tomljanovic. That's an interesting match for me because Samsonova is the hottest player in the WTA, arguably. She won the last 2 tournaments she's played. I think she's on like an 11-match win streak right now. So super hot. She also took out a Canadian, Fernandez. And then Ayla Tomljanovic took out Serena Williams. She came in unseeded. Now she's in the 4th round. So that's both players there are unseeded, but in very, very good form. So that's going to be interesting to see how that goes down. Big time. So yeah, those are the 4th round. Interesting point for me is that of the 32 players left in the round of 16, men and women's combined, 8 of them, so 25%, are either Russian or Belarusian, or so basically they were banned at Wimbledon. They did not compete in Wimbledon. So 25% of the players left in the US Open weren't allowed to compete at Wimbledon. So that shows you a picture of how insanely kind of diminished the competition was at Wimbledon. And people will say, well, none of them on the men's side were going to win it. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? That takes away from the fact that they weren't there. They might have won it. Daniil Medvedev was the number 1 player in the world. They might have done damage. You never know what happens in the quarterfinals if Djokovic has to play one of them. So, the same in the women's as well. So it was just crazy. It's just crazy to me how, and then Djokovic not being allowed to play here, in my opinion, was wrong. So Djokovic not being allowed to play an AO or US Open, crazy, diminishes the competition, and Wimbledon diminished competition as well, which is just sad. You want to see all the best players play at the majors, and it's not happening here at the US Open with just mainly 1 player, which is unfortunate. Still a good tournament though. Definitely didn't happen at Wimbledon. So that's just a little aside, a little stats there that I noticed. But yeah, back to the US Open draw. Who are you looking forward to? Which matches are you looking forward to? I know you're all looking forward to Medvedev versus Kyrgios. Let's be real. So that's going to be fire. I'll be staying up late for that tonight. And we will check in with you, obviously, before the quarterfinals get rolling here on the Slice. Leave your thoughts below. Subscribe to the Monday Bagel. The link is below. And if you're in Ontario and you want to get in on the action, join PointsBet with the link below as well. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for being here. That's the Slice.